We here at the Big Three Sportscast realize that it's kind of hard to listen to a full hour and a 50-minute podcast when you don't have that much time on your hands. So, we're leaving more, smaller segments. We're going to start clipping them and putting them together and giving you guys the best moments of the show. Probably 2 to 3 videos a week extra on top of our actual full-length podcast. If you want to hear the full podcast, link will be in the description along with a whole playlist of everything we've recorded. So far, we're only 2 weeks in, so there's only 2 episodes. But so on as far as we go forward, there will be more. So, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and leave feedback, ways you guys think we can improve. We hope you guys do enjoy, and don't forget to come back next week when we record week 3, talking about whether the Warriors dynasty is done. Last one thing for news, it was actually today, or maybe yesterday.
No, it was today.
It was today, okay. Draymond got a 4-year, $100 million contract. What are y'all's opinions on this? Because I have my own. And
I'll let Dan go first. I've gone first most of the time.
Yeah, you can go, Dan.
I don't agree with the $100 million.
He was getting a max deal no matter what. Because of how long
I don't agree with that. Don't get me wrong. Draymond Green is the heart and soul of the Warriors team. Like, no doubt about it.
You can't deny it.
Like, he's just a motor that runs that car.
And it doesn't stop.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't stop. Like, he's a great defensive player. He can score if he needs to.
Not the best, but he can do it.
Well, I don't agree that he should have gotten a 4-year, $100 million contract because I don't think he's worth $100 million. If he would have got, like, 50, 60,
oh, okay.
70,
he's going to get a little more
70's
than
pushing
that.
it.
He's probably going to get a little more than that. Because, I mean, that team, I'll say this much. I'm not a Warriors fan, but that team was built around Steph, Clay, and Dre.
Very true.
Like, they built through the draft for those 3 players to be good. And they produced. They produced championships.
They did.
And a couple of them.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I understand Steph getting his max. I understand Clay getting his max. Draymond, I think it's honestly going to kill their chances to win for what they did. Because you give them, I agree with Dan in the sense that the money is too much. If you want to keep winning championships, you gotta be willing to like take the pay cut or something so you can build.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Exactly, it is true. And so it's kind of interesting that you bring that up because, like, especially what Dan said with the max contract that he got at the current time. He had actually, before he got in this contract, he had put out a word probably at the end of the season or at some time that he was not going to accept a discount on his next contract just because Steph and Clay got paid so much, right?
Well, the thing is,
and also Kevin Durant had his big deal and whatnot. But he was not going to accept the contract, and he wanted to get his supermax deal, where if he would have held out till next summer, excuse me, if he would have held out to next summer and had either made an All NBA team or he had won Defensive Player of the Year, he would have been eligible to get his supermax contract. Would have been $238 million over 5 years, which would have been the highest paid contract in the NBA if he had held out and somehow, either gotten All NBA or Defensive Player of the Year, which he could have done. But the biggest thing is that he's known for this rebellious personality where he has these big outbursts in game, right? And he gets technical fouls and ejections quite a lot. But what's kind of interesting to me is he didn't put this big weighted drama over the Warriors throughout the whole year. Like, are they going to re-sign him? Is he going to make them wait to make them force a supermax contract in 2020 or something like that for over $200 million or something? Because if they had waited till 2020, he would have had to been paid close to $204 million over 5 years, almost guaranteed, because another team could have easily offered that. And so he kind of just settled for a 4-year, $100 million when he could have probably gotten, had he waited another year, another $100 million on top of that in another year, almost guaranteed. So it's very interesting because his personality is like this rebellious type of person where he gets a lot of things, technicals, ejections, whatnot. He's outspoken, very outspoken, but he kind of did the reverse in this situation where he saved the Warriors a big headache by signing to a 4-year, only $100 million max, which is still $100 million, but it's not what he had the potential to get had he waited another year. But that also means there's going to be a lot of drama, a lot of people asking questions. Why aren't you guys re-signing him? Why aren't you guys offering him more money? Why is he not joining? Stuff like that.
So, I mean, the Warriors, the only space they really have left I mean, they don't need it. Don't get me wrong. They definitely don't need the space they have left right now. They've got a pretty solid roster already.
Yeah.
I believe what I'm reading is $666,000. 667. God, there's too many sixes. Good Lord.
Just be happy that 7 is there, not a 6.
Oh yeah, that's a lot of sixes.
Yeah,
but it's like, that's gonna put him in cap hell the next couple of years. That's what I was worried about.
And they had to pay D'Angelo Russell as well.
Yeah, which that was a bad pickup in my opinion.
That's an interesting pickup. I'm not 100% on that. I think it's good temporarily speaking.
Yeah,
but
I
when
really
Clay
hope they just
does
decide
come
to
back,
move him.
I think they're gonna probably have to trade him. It's either
they,
sometime during the season or after this season, because they're simply just not gonna have room for a star of his level with all the people they have. And like, he doesn't fit the Kevin Durant position where he was a good small forward and could mix well with the starting 3 that they had originally. He's a Klay Thompson-esque player, and sometimes like Steph as well. So it's gonna be, I think they're gonna have to make a move with him at some point, but we'll have to see what they do.
Yeah.
And he's certainly not a bench player.
Oh, absolutely not. No.
Even though when Clay comes back, he probably will be a bench player.
It have to be.
Yeah,
unless they move,
to be pretty much.
I mean, Clay's 6'7".
He could play the small.
He could play the 3.
But do you want him to play the small?
No, he's got too much of a jumper from outside the perimeter to play small.
Yeah, but other than Draymond, he's the second best defensive player they have.
Yeah, that's true.
So he can lock down any of the other small forwards in the league.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I do not argue with that. I think it's
not at all.
I think getting this contract, as kind of wild as it does seem, if you're a Warriors fan, you're a big fan of this, because now you don't have to worry about signing Draymond Green for the next year. That's not a big problem. You have him locked down for 4 years. Also, you're not paying him $200+ million, which was potentially what you might have to if you waited to sign him next year, or even 151 if he signed somewhere else, right?
Yeah.
And but if you're a general person who, most people who aren't Warriors fans tend to not like Draymond Green that much, just because of how his like personality is.
He's very like, he has a lot of outbursts that I think if I was a coach or a GM, I'd look at him and say he's kind of like, he's not as bad as Boogie, but you know how Boogie has his outbursts and they get a lot of texts, and you get like, you have problems on and off the court, and you got them sitting there chirping at each other, yelling insults. I'm like, look, dude, we're here to play basketball. Let's play basketball. I mean, for me, if I was a GM, I'd look at that and be like, that's a couple cuts, because I can't have you cost me games. I can't have you cost, because in all honesty, the reason they probably lost that series of the Cavs when they were playing them in the finals is because Draymond had to sit out 5 and 6.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, that's true.
So he cost him a championship, really.
In a way, yeah, you can say he did cost him a championship with how much he was out there in the finals.
He didn't do it again, don't get me wrong, but I'd look at him and say, you cost me there, that's going to cost you a little bit.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to be mean to him. It's just, if I was a GM, that's the way I look at it.
If you're Golden State, that's
what you want.
If you're Golden State, you're happy right now, because you got
absolutely.
one of your star players locked down without having to overpay him that much. I mean, 100 million, some people might say is overpaid for him because his 3 points fallen off and he was hurt a lot and stuff like that. Maybe also his attitude, blah, blah, blah. Some people might say he's overpaid, but for what people could have offered him and how good he has been the past few years, you locked him in at a cheaper rate than you would probably had you waited one more year.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so I think for Golden State's front office, they're going to be happy. For everyone else, it's probably just like, well, you missed out on the biggest potential free agent of next year. So that kind of sucks for everyone else, because there's not a huge free agent class next year. It's just not going to be many. But that's it's great for the Warriors for what they have. They're going to have a big problem in a couple years when the contracts start coming up, though. That's going to be very interesting to see what happens in the next few years after all the contracts are done, and we'll see what unlocks.
I think
they're going to be in trouble.
They have Draymond and Clay locked down for longer than they have Steph, I believe.
They do. Steph's contract is a shorter
contract.
Not
Steph.
So much money.
You said Clay. My bad. You're right, though.
Yeah.
You are right. That was my fault. So those are those topics, but real